All right, let's do the little clappy, 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 clap.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Fill me up. Oh, Jesus.
Malfunction.
All right.
NEM, it's a twister.
Okay. All right.
That's show business, folks.
1, 2, 3.
You're listening to Articulate with your hosts, Kevin Kramer and Sean Gillespie, your go-to guys for art tips, techniques, and general artist ramblings. Presented by drawingandcoloring.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Articulate, the podcast show.
The show where we talk about everything art.
Everything art.
Everything art on this show.
I'm
Mostly
Kevin.
art.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Sean. Kevin Kramer, Sean Gillespie.
And we
Today.
just told you what we do.
Yeah, we just told you what we're doing, but today
Today,
we're going to talk about poster art.
poster art. Movie art.
Movie art,
Posters.
band art,
Gig posters.
gig part, art with a function.
Gig part.
Gig art. Gig art. Mainly,
yes.
we're going to be showing those like DVDs, like here old Blade Runner by
Runner.
old Drew Struzan there.
Yes. One of the greats.
One of the greatest
The-
poster artists of all time.
Arguably the greatest.
Inarguably. Anybody wants to
Inarguably,
argue
yes.
this with me, I'm going to punch him in the mouth.
Inarguably. That's a hard word to argue.
Inarguably.
It's a hard word to say.
The show's called Articulate.
So we bring out the big words for you guys.
For you guys. All right, so let's start with Drew, because Drew
started it.
He did it all. He
really
did
started
everything
it.
from Blade Runner, all the Indiana Jones, pretty much anything with Harrison Ford in it.
Pretty much.
You know, Star Wars
Anything.
also has Harrison Ford. I mean, he did.
Well, and then there's consecutive ones, so it seems like even more.
And there's a documentary on him
Yes.
out on the old Netflix. I saw that.
Struzan.
I saw it. Yeah, Drew Struzan.
Yeah, I think we probably talked about it in a podcast before.
Yeah.
It's a really good documentary.
Yeah, and he's a mostly airbrush artist, but really all over the place. He does mixed media.
Yeah.
He's watercolor. He does it
completely
all.
mixed media. Has his
Yeah.
own style for
Beautiful
sure.
stuff. So yeah, there's the Blade Runner.
Not.
cover, but then you've
Not
definitely
digital.
not digital.
That's
Yeah, so this was
all
back
hand.
before. And one of the things you get is like with Roger Castell. So Roger Castell did the Jaws.
If you're not familiar with it.
If you've never seen the Jaws poster, and you've been in a cave for life,
Really?
then that actually started with the Jaws book cover. Jaws was a book,
Oh, yeah.
then it was turned into a movie. Used the same image from the cover as the movie poster, which was by Roger Castell. So,
Interesting.
you know, so
Yeah.
there you go. So you get like movie covers, book covers,
Bloom,
posters.
bloom,
they all
bloom.
build on one of each other.
Yes.
Sometimes they use the same ones, but this was all pre-digital, where they would sit there and hand paint it. So I mean, you've definitely recognized
Any
all
of that.
these guys,
Blam.
right? All
Blicka blah blam.
by the Drew Meister, Drew Struzan.
The quadrology.
All right, and so you know, and it all, and he is
And the Back to the Future, too.
and the Back to the Future.
Those are awesome.
Oh, and Hook and Big Trouble in Little China.
All of those.
I mean, you name it, he probably drew it.
And made it awesome.
Right. But it has its traditions in things like this.
Straight-
freaks and things like
Yeah.
that, you know, where they used to have to draw
Right?
all
Just
the posters.
straight
you know?
from it to the cover.
Yeah, Mega Man, these are just some of the ones I've got. And now some of them are so good, like 7-Year Itch, where
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn Monroe is painted so sexily.
my.
So sexy is the Marilyn Monroe painting there.
You got Dick
that
Tracy in
you
the back here.
might, no, you haven't seen that movie? That movie's great.
I've seen it. It's good.
Okay, yeah, it's not Dick Tracy.
I'm just saying.
You don't know.
You know.
You don't know. But anyway, I mean, some of them are painted so well that you don't even realize they're a painting. They're like,
Right.
you know, might as well be a photograph.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Might as well.
That one.
Marilyn Monroe.
I think that one's pretty obvious. It's a painting.
I love the Marilyn Monroe so much. I want to give her like 10,000 children and then I'm gonna die. All right.
So the posters.
So the posters, right? So you get the posters, and
Right.
they were all hand done, and the same with band posters. You know, there's an album art,
Right.
especially. In fact, that's how Drew Struzan got his job. He started
Yeah.
off as doing album art.
He did. And it was kind of just working for a company doing money stuff.
Making art.
Right.
From money.
Right.
That's so cool. They're like, for example, he did the Black Sabbath album, Drew Struzan did. And one of the things is, we need a painting of a guy dying.
Right.
A good guy and a bad guy or whatever. And so he's got one where the angels are coming and the other where the demons are pulling him down. Can you imagine how awesome that job would have been back in the day? You just draw it and you paint it, and then
there it is.
The next day you draw something else and you paint that, and that's your job.
And it's practice.
And they don't do that anymore. No, that job does not exist anymore.
Doesn't. Now it's
all computers. All computers. It's gone. Gone are the days where an artist can make his life without a computer.
Well,
is that good or bad? Who can know?
It's
for you to decide. You people out there who are really good at graphic design are it's good. But you people who are a little bit of a Luddite, like the Shano,
right,
then you're that's bad.
Well,
all a matter of opinion.
Well, that's when you get into the the tablets and all of that stuff, which is still not exactly the same.
And last season, you interviewed
Rob Jones.
Who is he does all the White Stripes posters.
He does White Stripes. He does a lot of different. He does posters for Mondo, which is the Alamo Draft House. The movie posters that they have, they have their own company for
and
that.
You got a little bit of insight into his methodology or his process, and basically how he does it is he creates the images in Photoshop from photographs and then filters them and pieces them together, and that seems to be the way it's done now.
I mean, he actually still uses offline stuff, but he imports it. It's all digital now. Nothing is really hand done.
Nothing.
There's no hand painted anything.
Okay.
But it is older referenced images like plates and things like that he puts in, and he. But
it's all from photographs
or even postcards.
I got you. Now, in the documentary, Spielberg and Lucas were definitely, they definitely seem to feel like something had been lost with this digital age where everything is, they're using...
In the Drew Struzan.
Yeah. Right. And they're everything is photographs now. I love this Scott Pilgrim poster. I love it. I love the movie in general. It's such just a brilliant work of how they...
It's a perfect mix.
Right.
It's the best mix I've seen ever.
It's a great, just the mix of digital and by making a work of art digitally. It's just so well done, and the movie is wonderful.
It's got an organic feel still.
But so what we've got here are two extremes. If you look at, for example, Blade Runner, which is hand-painted, and then Scott Pilgrim. Now, both of these are works of art, for sure. But between all of these is a whole lot of terrible crap.
Oh, yeah.
Whole lot of it. Now, these two I love.
Yeah.
Because they're both just beautiful works of art, and they're both on either extreme. They are art. They heighten
They are.
the image.
They communicate a message.
They make you feel inspired. They make you want to not only see the movie, but go out and make art yourself. They're great.
And that was actually a lot of the things with, if you watch the documentary, Struzan would make this amazing poster for this shit movie. And they're like,
I want to see that.
I want to see that. Now we got to live up to the poster.
So it's it wasn't as good. Yeah, they mentioned that in the documentary. So, definitely. What's the title of that documentary? I think it's just called Drew
Struzan, the man behind the poster.
Okay, gotta see that because it's so good.
Yeah.
But so between this, and they talk about this a lot in that documentary, it's just all this crap where they're just taking pictures of Frodo holding a sword, and you're supposed to be like, I'm into that. Let me go see
stills from the movie.
Just stills from the movie now, and the posters are no longer important. They just crank it out, and something has been lost. Not only thousands and thousands of jobs, for artists, quality work where artists can sit there and create. But you've also got now anybody with Photoshop can create a movie poster, and the problem with that, while it does democratize it quite a bit, and that's nice. We use that term a lot on this show. Because that's kind of the age that we're in.
It's an overarching time where you can do anything you want, whether you have skill or not.
You have access to the tools.
You have access to the tools that the pros have.
Yes, that's it. Everybody has access to Pro Tools now. Almost.
They're even called Pro Tools now when you download them.
Yeah, they're even called Pro Tools. And anybody, with anybody can get them.
Any budget, really.
Right. So, but
Even
that does
iMovie
not
on your
mean
computer is
just
still-
because you use Pro Tools does not mean your work is professional.
Is a pro. No.
Pro Tools does not the pro worker make.
No, it does not.
But it's a great starting point.
It is.
The problem that I have with it
Yeah.
is not the people working on it at home, honing their craft, getting better at it and all that. I mean, that you have to do. That's essential. You know, you're
Right.
working on your art and you're mastering your art and you're getting better at it.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it is the fact that it's filtering its way into professional level work. Like movie posters that are supposed to be professional are just crap.
Right.
You know?
Just text with a
They're just
photo.
text with a photo of the person that's in the movie, and you're
Right.
like, that is so empty of feeling and
Right.
soul. Why?
And that's what they say. That's what
Right.
they Lucas and Spielberg says. It's like his
I agree with them
Struzen's
100%.
posters have another element that
Yeah.
it brings you into the story.
It heightens the work itself to a work of art as opposed to, just that. And so one of the things, this is not an example of that, but this is an example where they're still drawing local, new art. So like Evil Dead 2, which that's from like 1979. So that one,
right. Well, that's even
doesn't
kind of like
really
a
count.
low budget movie.
Right, it is. And then that's what you're finding is that it's mainly with low budget movies now that are having original art, which is surprising because original art should be more expensive, so it should be the higher budget. But like Army of Darkness, they used original art for that cover, and it's so much cooler than if you just saw Bruce Campbell holding the chainsaw. I mean, Bruce Campbell's awesome, and
it's not just a photo of him with it.
It's not. It's iconic.
It loses something with just a photo.
By somebody spending hours painting it, it becomes important. Right. And that's the thing, is art is important.
Yeah.
And that's what we are here every week talking to you about. We're not here talking to you because we enjoy it, although we do. But
every minute.
We're here because it's important. Right? But there's a lot of people out there who are just creating crap and they're not treating it very importantly.
Well, it's also people that are in charge that just are...
They're just get it out there.
Doing it for the money.
And this one I really like. This is some Killer Clowns from Outer Space because it's like all holographic-y.
Take a look at that.
That's cool. I like it just because it's holographic-y.
Probably just freaked out a third of the audience with those clowns.
Man. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is not a bad movie.
But people don't like clowns.
I will not say that it is a work of art.
Oh, no way.
But I own it on DVD. It was in the cheap bin. I paid like $4 for it. I wouldn't pay more, but I enjoy it.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, so the point is, folks.
What is the point?
What is the point of this podcast? This show? The point is that art and posters exists.
It does.
Art. No.
There's
the point is that
fine line.
The digital world has destroyed a lot of jobs and art, so there are pros and cons to new tools coming out. One of the pros is that it democratizes art and it makes it more accessible to people. One of the cons is that if anybody has access to this work, the magic of it and the difficulty of it becomes lost. It no longer is this, craft that only a few people have access to. I mean, it is, like, actual making art is still that craft, but that craft, the value of that craft from a public perception and a business perception diminishes, and that's sad.
Here's a good example. If you went to an art gallery and you had a hand-painted image or any kind of picture or poster right next to a printed out digital copy, which one would you value more?
Right, exactly. And people go to art galleries and museums to see posters. You went to a French poster exhibit a while back, and they were all hand-painted, and they were beautiful, right? But, yeah, you're right. You're not going to see a photo montage of...
You're not going to see a printed out on...
Yeah, nobody's going to go to a gallery and see that unless it's like a historic gallery of, hey, look at these photos from back in 200 years ago. And people are like, wow, that's weird, but they're not going to look at it as art. They're just going to look at it as...
There's no intrinsic value in them that you get from going to see the paint strokes or the process. You get more out of it by seeing the process because you can see how it's kind of built together instead of perfectly clean digital super sharp.
Right. And we talked about that last season a bit. Like, even just with regular paintings, going to see a work of art in person versus seeing a digital print of it. It's going to be totally different. And I'm sure the same is with Drew Struzan's work. I've never seen any of his work in person, but I bet you if you did, it would blow your mind.
Exactly.
You would just like drool on it, and then you're like, I'm sorry, Drew. I drooled on your painting. Crap. Yeah, I'm sure it would blow your mind. But because it's already stunning in print.
Right.
And which means it has to be like a million more times.
Exactly. Right. And then just to know the story of how he made those too. It's not just, well, I outlined this on, I put a mask around him and then I moved it over from this file and I copied and pasted it and then I put a layer over it and then I did this.
Right.
And then I printed it out.
So poster art. What are we saying here? Are we saying that poster art is becoming a dying art form, or that it already is a dead art form and it'll just be regenerated every now and again, and people will be like, "Oh, that's unique. They hand painted that. Neat. Good for y'all." And then, but for the mainstream, it's dead.
If you're gonna make it digitally, you still have to have a sense of how to make them by hand.
Okay.
Or you have to have
a sense of composition and color and lighting.
You have to have, because like Rob Jones, his posters are amazing. His are awesome.
Right.
But he first started out doing all of them by hand.
Okay.
And then he moved over to that stuff, but his images still have a lot of depth. They're not just copy paste.
Well, right, and that's kind of my point. With the Scott Pilgrim as a movie, is that, not necessarily that poster, but you can't, if you're so good at it, you can make it a work of art.
Right.
Like beyond just a craft.
Right.
But so much of it has become, just put something out there. Let's just, business needs. It's, we just pay this guy $20 an hour to put something out there, and he's done in 1 hour, as opposed to that.
It's like, so, I need a DVD cover. Put it on Fiverr.
So I'm going to say, I feel like that it is like a dying industry. It's a dying industry. I'm not going to say it's a dying art form, because I think that there's still going to be people creating prints, and there's still going to be like, small people like, what do you do? Unfortunately, I think we're going to see, if not already past seeing, that it's very difficult to make your living doing that now, because maybe 3 people will make their living doing that, as opposed to hundreds of people that you've never heard of, but they were still spent their whole life doing that.
Right. It's kind of like the Alamo Drafthouse, like that Mondo division. They work directly with the theater. And they're hired. They're made by the theater. Created that company for those artists to make things for the theater.
Right.
And I don't know any other theater that does that.
No, they're the only ones. Yeah.
So, unless you're in that group of artists...
Right, which is very...
Who the hell else is making those
very
posters?
competitive, because, you're talking about Austin, Texas, where you've got 60,000 students a year at UT, and every single one of them wants to work there in some capacity, whether it's as an artist, or it's as a business major, or a lawyer, or whatever. everybody wants to... work there. So, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. Not to say it's impossible. You should definitely follow your passions, but unfortunately, with the digital age, you are going to have more difficulty making it as a poster artist.
The amount of competition is steep.
Yeah, for sure. Which is sad. It's a bummer, man.
So, well, I guess.
But maybe throwing this out there, just spitballing.
But
maybe that could be your style. Is that your paintings look like posters, and they look like old-timey posters, because there's always going to be people who want to buy like something hand-painted, and if your painting just looks like a poster, somebody might go for that. You're not making, like, it's not getting printed on posters everywhere, but that might sell.
Yeah, if you like mimic old
world French mimic posters. It, just kind of make it, but do your own spin on it. Yeah, your own spin on it, something twist.
Well, that's kind of what Struzan does too. He has he's just a mashup of every style.
Right.
So, if you still did that, I'm sure there's still people that appreciate that, obviously.
Yeah.
But doing it commercially...
probably not going to happen these days.
You have to create your own firm or something.
It's going to be difficult.
You have to create your own...
It's a bummer, man.
It's a bummer.
This is a really depressing show.
And I think we'll end that way.
All right. We're going to end this one on a low note.
Tune in next week.
Where we just sit here and cry about
the last week's podcast.
Art world dying.
We should just do that next time. Just come
sit
in
here and cry and be like, art doesn't exist. Blah, table flip.
Or we'll just sit here and really monitor.
Art is dead.
It's just flip everything.
Man, I tell you, I did not expect this show to go this way. That's the thing with live TV, folks. It goes wherever it goes. We follow the leads.
Up and down.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in anyway.
Yeah.
Well, hope we didn't depress you. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the posters design? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it staying flat? Is it going away?
Can you make it as a poster artist? Is this strictly an American thing? Maybe they're still drawing. I mean, we've got a lot of European viewers, and we've got a lot of viewers from India who watch our show.
What country?
What's going on out there?
Yeah.
I want to know that.
And it's a valid question.
It's a good question. I want to know.
Because we're very narcissistic.
Especially, we are. I get a little caught up with just, America this, and this is what's happening, especially with film, because, but yeah, with like India makes more films in a year than we make in 20 years or something like that. Are their do they even make posters, and are the posters hand-drawn or not?
Yeah, it's a good question. How is it in your neck of the woods, your country? What kind of market do you have? Do you see anything going up or down? Mm-hmm. Let us know. And again, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that button on the top of his head. Or actually, it might be down there somewhere. Whatever it is.
Wherever my button is, press it
hit immediately. That subscribe button and just follow us on articulatepodcast.com every Wednesday. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.
You've been listening to Articulate with Kevin and Sean. Subscribe on iTunes or check them out on drawingandcoloring.com. Always reminding you to keep it simple.